Ever wondered how to deal with anxiety and how maybe the Rosary could help you? We're going to talk about that and more coming up next.
Hey everyone, we're Drew and Katie Taylor with Catholic Link, joined here with Catherine DiNuzzo from Sacred Heart Mental Wellness. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. It really helps get the word out, and share this video with a friend.
Because in our last video, we talked about how anxiety is a biological response that 99% of us are struggling with. So if you are not that person, your friend definitely is. And all need these resources, because once we have that response, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do. And so, Catherine, maybe like a teeny intro to what anxiety is, but you definitely need to watch the other video.
One of the important things from the last video that we talked about is that the anxious response, what I call, is that animal brain, that part of our brain that's job is to keep us alive, that God gives us because he loves us, sometimes gets scared over things that aren't very scary.
Yeah.
And our cognitive brain knows it's not scary, but our animal brain, it's like an animal. It just is scared. And so we spend most of my time in the counseling office helping people to not be mad at their animal brains that they have no control over. If you watched the last video, we were teasing Drew that he just couldn't accept that he didn't have control over his animal brain.
I still don't accept it.
So he would be job security for me, right? And so being able to see that this is a natural, okay response, and what I call get off the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So what the hamster wheel is I feel this natural biological, my heart starts beating, my tummy gets sick. I have a choice in that moment. I can either take a deep breath and say, God, thank you for this response to keep me safe, but I'm not in danger and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Or I can get mad at myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can get anxious that I'm anxious. And then I could get anxious that I'm anxious that I'm anxious. And then I could keep getting anxious that I'm anxious until I feel like I'm almost having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And we get to make that decision. And the difference of everything we're going to talk about is that if you choose to get off the hamster wheel and realize that God made you good, that you are amazing, that this is a natural thing and not to be mad at yourself about it, then you can take these steps to help calm the anxious brain. But if you don't, nothing we say is going to work. So truly, this video to me today is to help encourage you to hold on to the giggle that we talked about last week, to be able to give yourself grace, to realize God made you good and you are absolutely enough. And whatever fear you're having, you can give it to him, give it to Mary, and he can love you through it. But you have to give him that first. And then we can talk about some of the things that can help.
Yeah, I think I just want to repeat that. Like, you are created good, that you are enough, that you having this fear, having this response does not make you unfaithful. It doesn't make you a bad Catholic. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad mom, daughter, husband, wife, etc. It makes you a daughter of God or a son of God, and he just gave you this gift out of love. And so I think it's really important for our viewers to hear that. And then I love like giving it over to God. One of the ways that I concretely do this is when I sit down in prayer, which sometimes can be like my most anxious time because like all of the things that I need to pray about are coming to the surface. And it's like, okay, I have like X, Y, and Z on my brain. And to immediately go and say, this video right here, I'm going to write that down, that it's stressing me out. So like, I'm going to write it down and say, Lord, like I surrender this to you. And just making a concrete list of like, these are all the things that are in my brain that are popcorning. And I'm going to say like, Lord, I surrender this to you. Lord, I surrender this to you. Lord, I surrender this to you. And kind of bringing that like purposeful intention of just kind of handing it back to him is one of the ways that I've definitely seen growth in this area.
Absolutely. And I like to call that weeding the garden. So I used to live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And in, Colorado, where if you have a 5x5 garden, you're pretty impressive. And then I moved to Kansas, where unless you have like an acre garden, you're not really impressive. So I decided that I was going to plant a garden. And in the spring, if you've ever gardened, it is so beautiful. Like the ground is tilled up really nice and all your little things are in a line and it's not hot and there's no bugs. And I was thinking, yes, these people know what they're talking about. Gardening is amazing. And then July came. Because I moved to Kansas. And if you don't know if everyone's been to Kansas, it is like 110 degrees, 98% humidity. Every bug exists. It's miserable. So about July 5th, I was like, I'm not weeding anymore. We'll just see what happens. And by August, there were so many weeds. I couldn't tell what the vegetables were and what the weeds were. And one day when I went in there and I started weeding the garden, I had this moment of like, this is what I do as a counselor, right? Is weeding through these things to find out what are the vegetables that are actual things I need to work on and what are the things that I have no control over and I just need to weed out. And so what I think is really beautiful there is that is one great technique is that when we have our thoughts in our heads, they can be anything. I can really think if I don't pass this test tomorrow, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Right? And our animal brain's like, what? We're not going to pass the test. We're going to die. And then we start feeling anxious.
Yeah.
So when we realize like, no, I'm probably not going to die. I might have to retake it. I might have to talk to the professor. I might have to do this. But in the end, I'm probably not going to die. Right?
Yeah.
And so we have to tell the animal brain that. We have to be able to weed our garden. And sometimes our weeds are so big, all we can do is say, God, I know this is a weed, but you got it because I can't figure out how to get it out. And he's kind of like my husband. I was like, can you just mow it?
No, just
mow it off.
We're going to start
We're
again.
just gonna go again. Just mow it because I don't even know where anything
Is that going to confession?
I don't have a garden anymore in case
That's
anyone was wondering.
Turns out.
Turns out I was not meant to garden.
I was definitely there when you planted that garden. So it's interesting to see how that developed, like the good
Or
idea
didn't develop.
to the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some other things that Catholics can do to help out with anxiety and to work on controlling or weeding the animal brain?
Well, one of the things
Once again,
that's-
he wants to control the animal.
Yeah. How do I do it?
Okay,
Tell
first you
me.
accept you can. Hold on to that giggle. Okay, so we're gonna have Drew do. Can you do something with me?
Yep.
Just you and me.
Yep.
We'll just keep working on you.
Yep.
Okay. Have you ever seen a scary movie?
Yes.
Okay. When you see a scary movie and something jumps out at you, what do you do?
Like you jump.
Do you go, ooh, that's a scary clown. I'll move back now. Ah! No, you don't, right? What happens is you move back and then you go, oh, that's a scary clown. To me, that is the perfect example where you can feel the difference and the power of your animal brain and how you don't have control over it. You have literally assessed a danger and had your whole body move away from it before your brain even knew anything that was going on.
Yeah.
And so when, again, the first thing you do is accept that your animal brain might jump back. And animal brains take pictures. So what I have so much with clients that struggle with is they think, well, that happened 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That happened 20 years ago. Why is my brain still scared? Because the animal brain never wants to get it wrong again.
Huh.
So it will take a picture and anything that you can see, smell, hear, something from that past, the animal brain's like, well, I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather move back and find out we're safe than not.
Yeah. Huh.
So being able to realize that, and if you doubt me, because I have a lot of doubters in this thing, okay? Maybe I'm admitting like a little soapbox here. I want you to think about how powerful your animal brain's memory is.
Yeah.
I want you to take a moment and think about apple pie. You know what it smells like. You can taste it. You can feel the crunchiness. You might even hear your family's voice of your mom making it in the kitchen, right? And so your animal brain remembers all of those things. It's a very powerful safety thing that God gave us.
Yeah.
So all of these things that I'm telling you are just to encourage people to realize that, no, really, I don't have control over this, and I need to get off the hamster wheel.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, how does the Rosary work into this?
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Thank
no,
you, Drew,
I
for
guess
keeping
I
us
want-
on task.
no, I wanna know. I was told in the
Okay.
beginning of this video I would find out.
I have stuck around this long.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So, as a counselor, I go to all of these conferences about secular ways
Mm.
to help with anxiety.
Yeah.
And every time I go, it's so frustrating because I'm like, you're so Catholic. The church has already done this.
We've been doing this for 2,000 years.
right?
Come join
this is
us.
Catholic, right? And so, first of all, I think how the rosary helps, we have to understand that God knew we were going to be anxious.
Mm.
He gave us the rosary. He gave us mass. He gave us confession. All of these things that help us weed our garden. And so for those out there who think, oh, well, I'm a Catholic. If I pray enough, I won't feel anxious. No, God was like,
Not how it
oh,
works.
honey, the more you pray, you're probably going to be anxious. Come to me. I got it. I'm going to give you everything you need. Okay. So the rosary is a beautiful, meditative, repetitive, monotone-esque prayer. So if you think of, go again for the secular world about what they talk about in meditation and bringing yourself to the present moment, the rosary fits all of those needs. So when I have a client, obviously people say prayer and bedtime is the time that anxiety comes the most. I ask them to put on an audio rosary. Right? And it's because if you're an anxious person and you're trying to pray the rosary right, you're almost too anxious that you're not praying it right.
Yeah.
Did I do 9 Hail Marys? Did I do 11? Did I properly meditate? Did I get this right? And so I like this image of the rhythm of the rosary being like Mary rocking you, right? So you can just go to sleep to her rocking you at night. You can just listen to that prayer and know that she's there taking your fears away. And so it's the moment about being able to hand over her everything, all your weeds, and just letting that repetitive calming part tell your animal brain, I'm okay.
Yeah.
We're safe. I know you're scared, but actually Mary's got it.
I think that's so beautiful. And so for an audio rosary, we recommend, we'll put down below, definitely check out Hallow. There's a free 30-day trial in the description. But I think too, even just sitting around, we've had the opportunity to pray some family rosaries with the DiNuzzo family, and to watch everybody in the room after a day that's been busy or crazy or hectic or stressful, to like the tone of the entire group just begins to have that breathing aspect. And so it was a beautiful gift to get to experience that with your family and to see, your preteen, teen children and just the yawning, the good signs of Mary just rocking us to sleep.
Now, I was amazed at how our kids, who are 4, 2, and 6 months old, hung with it, they were there and they just kind of entered into it in a beautiful way.
It was.
So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you so much. For those of you guys, sacredheartmentalwellness.com.
Yes. If you want to learn more about this, I think you've touched on some of this biology and very top of how to handle our incorrect response or responding to the wrong stimulus of anxiety and how to do that better. Catherine has a 6-week course that I highly, highly recommend. Again, Catherine is the only person I would trust with my mental health. And she has inspired me to get my master's in counseling and just has been such an important person through that journey of healing. And so if you want to learn more about this, to be proactive, to be able to live life in the reality that we all have an animal brain. Every single one of us. We can't control it. Then I highly recommend checking that out. We'll put it down in the description as well.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're praying for you all until next time. Praying rosaries for you until
Absolutely.
next time.
Yes.
God bless.